Good evening, everyone. Hello, Funny Turo. Welcome, welcome. So we have a guest today. Hidden, you can say hi first, I guess, and I'll say hi.
Good evening.
And then we will introduce. I am Groot on Discord, but you have a real name,
Hello,
which I'm
my
sure you
name
want
is Rob. My real
to.
name is
Rob.
Rob.
So if you just want to start off, because like I said, you're kind of our special guest. We usually just run the show Hidden and I, but I do appreciate you coming along. I'll give a quick minor introduction, I guess, for myself and G'day Huss. So you and I have kind of met every so often in different spots, not really formally or anything. And then we were on a my Twitter space, I think, together one time,
Yeah.
and I mentioned that I we were in on a bot conversation, and I think everybody there had already made bots. I was just sort of there. I don't even know. I think it was because of iBots, which obviously didn't go anywhere afterwards or wrecked people, which sucked. But good day, Scott. Welcome. We haven't had you out here for a while. And I mentioned that I would like to get into trading, and it took me a while to finally get to that point. But you were very gracious and offered me an opportunity to have a chat with you, which I greatly appreciated and learned a lot. And looking forward to hopefully learning more. So that's where we kind of met. But I guess maybe just give us your crypto history, your whatever background you want to get into. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So, all right. Gosh, where do I start? So I've been trading for I don't even know how many years now. Quite a while. I started off with stocks, and I started off with penny stocks. So a while back, I've been in construction my whole life. So I did construction for like I don't know 20 years plus, ever since I was a teenager. And really enjoyed mathematics and psychology. Those are the things that I majored in college. College didn't work out. I don't know if it was because I just got bored or what, but I don't know. It just wasn't for me. And so I decided to just keep doing construction work. And I look back and wonder why. So I ended up hurting my back, and I was kind of laid up for about a year, and I couldn't do any work, and I didn't know anything else, right? And so, and I'm not someone to just sit around.
Most
And so
construction guys aren't.
yeah, so during that year, I just kind of decided to start looking into how trading works, and like I didn't even know how a bid or an ask. I didn't know what the difference was between those things, and I kind of just started getting into Discord groups and asking questions and watching these guys trade. And I didn't really do too much. I did try a little bit with some small funds. In my first year was pretty bad. I was terrible at it. I sucked, and I didn't know what I was doing. I got lucky on a few things, but for the most part, I was just throwing darts at a dartboard. And then that's when I really started to look at charts and started to look at things and try to figure out how these markets moved. I was waking up every single day for pretty much an entire year at 4 a.m. to catch pre-market, and then I would stay up probably until about midnight every night just watching the futures charts move. And I wasn't trading them; I was just watching them, and I had like a really I don't know, a big desire just to figure out how this stuff moves. I'm like, there's a lot of money to be made if I could just figure out how it works, right? And so that's kind of just what I dedicated myself to. I noticed that whenever I tried to trade something that was news related, I lost. And so then I started to figure out that the news was not your friend. And no matter what they say, it's usually either already priced into the chart or it's super forward looking. And none of that really helps you right now. So I said there's got to be an easier way. And so I decided to just shut the news off. I just didn't pay attention to it. I unfollowed everyone on Twitter. So I didn't like hear anything anymore. And I just started following like trading accounts and charts, and I learned about options, and I started trading options, and I did really well with that. And I noticed that I liked the volatility of it. So I liked being able to get in and get out of something very quickly, rather than trying to like hold on to something for a really long time, and have it just round trip me back to where I started, right?
We've never
Um,
done that in DeFi.
yeah. So I found a strategy. I found an edge that worked for me, and it worked. It started working really well. At that point, I found crypto, and I was like, okay, let's see how this works with crypto, right? And this was right around the 2021 era where Bitcoin was climbing, right, in the bull market. Wait, was it 2021? Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, let me just I bought some Link, I bought some ADA, I bought some, just, the big ones that everybody was talking about. And I like tripled my money in like a month. And I was like, well, this is absolutely insane. Like, what is all of this? Right. And I'm like using my charts and I'm like, okay, cool. This looks like a top, right? Like there's no way it can go any higher than that. So I cashed out, tripled my money in a couple months. And, I watched it keep going. And I was like, I couldn't, like, it broke all of my techniques, right? Like it broke where I thought it was going to go. And then we hit a top and we started coming down. I'm like, okay, cool. Finally starting to come down. But this was the first peak that Bitcoin had. And then I found a project called Strong Block. And I was like, all right, well, I'm just going to throw some money into this thing and see what happens. I ended up turning $1,500 into, I think I made like, I don't know, $150,000 that year. And it was like,
can I find one of those cash cows?
and I just so happened to get in early enough. A friend of mine showed me about it, and I actually got in like way later than he did, right? And so he did even better than I did. And I was like, this is crazy. So I started showing people about it, and I was naive about the whole thing, right? Like I had no idea why this thing worked. I just knew that it worked. And I knew that there was this sort of Ponzi-nomics about it. But when you look into the fundamentals of it, it was like, well, we're trying to get paid for maintaining people's nodes. I was like, okay, well, this sounds legitimate, right? Like this sounds like, sure, if a blockchain is going to pay you to maintain their nodes, then this might work out. And so I was showing people how to do this, and I was doing like one-on-one calls to teach people how to use MetaMask and, stuff like that. And it kind of started creating a business. And then I got complacent and stopped looking at charts and stopped paying attention to all of that because I didn't need to, because it was just paying so well. And then the fall came, right? And it brought everyone back down to earth. I think I ended up getting my dad in it. He lost. I ended up getting a couple friends in it. They lost. So I felt really bad about that, and then I started going on Twitter again and seeing what people were saying. And I noticed all these big time accounts just trying to shill one thing after another, telling people to buy the dips. And now, according to my charts, I can see that we hit a top. I can see it. Like I could tell. And I'm trying to like warn people. And I'm like, listen, this is what the chart says. And like, don't buy here. Stop buying the dips. Like, this is it. It's over. Like, this is the end of the cycle. And, I got people yelling at me and stuff, but I'm like, you know what? I really just want to teach people how to read charts, because this is, at the end of the day, this isn't a Ponzi. This isn't something that goes away. Mm-hmm. People have been reading charts for 100 years and it works for me. And I just want to teach people how to do it. And so that's what I've been doing for the last year and a half now, is just trying to teach people how they can invest on their own and make their own decisions, and stop relying on Twitter and people who, just because they got 100,000 followers and they say to buy something, that's not investment advice. Like it's your money. You should make your own decision, right? Like I don't even want to tell you what to buy. I'll make alert calls in my group and stuff, but the main purpose of my group is to teach people how to read charts, right? Nice. So I've done over 100 one-on-one sessions now with people over the year, with 100 different individuals, and teaching them how to basically just navigate charts and make better investment decisions. Know when to buy, know when it's time to sell, make profits. Because at the end of the day, that's what we're in this for. Like, especially with crypto, like hodling crypto is the worst strategy of all time. I don't know, like, and the only reason it exists as like a slogan is because the big guys want you to keep holding so they can keep selling, right? And yeah, I mean, with equities and with stocks and stuff, sure, like long-term plans, you buy your blue chips and you kind of just buy every once in a while, you tuck them away for 20, 30 years, you're going to be fine. But with crypto, it's not like that. You need to learn how to read the chart so you can sell the top and buy the bottom again.
And a good point there too, right? Even when you're playing with the other stuff, if you still want to, I don't even know what the term to use anymore that makes sense, but gamble or whatever, at least if you know some of this background information, you can kind of help yourself dampen the noise. And a very Scott thing to say here, but he says, doing really well on your first Ponzi, definitely DeFi project, is the ultimate curse. And it's true. And I appreciate you for breaking the cycle that most YouTubers do not do, or any influencers or whatever in the space. They keep banging their head against the wall looking for the next moonshot, hoping they'll hit gold twice. And it just,
Yeah.
It doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, perfect. And good day, MG. Thanks for coming by. Um, so, and I appreciate all that. And I mean, long story short, obviously you're doing the same things as everybody else, but at least realizing it and then trying to add value back into the space. I really appreciate, because there's again a lack of that, because people keep I mean, we've seen it time and time again where somebody does a project, it fails, they go on to the next project and like, okay, this one we learned from this one, and it's great that you learned from it, but you're still doing another version of the same BS. So, and sorry, I just said Scott's always good for some comments. And Scott's just saying, I wouldn't say holding is the worst strategy as long as you're accumulating blue chips. They're definitely worse strategies than buying and holding. And I think even you, I mean, if you have some comments to put towards that, I do agree within reason. Hodling right now with some blue chips and your L1s and all that stuff to wait for the bull can be quite advantageous. But there's a lot of sideways action that if you do no trading, you can, I guess, be more lucrative while you're waiting, or active while you're waiting, I guess. Anything to add to that?
I mean, with crypto, like if you just held Bitcoin forever, I mean, even right now, if you bought Ethereum back in 2018 at the top, you're still at break even right now.
Yeah.
We're going on 6 years.
Gotcha.
6 years of zero returns. So I still would say that hodling crypto is a very bad strategy. You could do so much better by just utilizing the 821 EMA strategy on the weekly time frame. And you don't even have to look at charts all the time. You can just look at it once a week and see what's going on and know when it's time to sell and know when it's time to get back in. Very easily, actually. Nice. It's actually easier than most people think. Like, I'm nobody special. I did construction for 20 years and I got stuck on a couch for a year, and I got lucky that this is the hobby I chose to pick up during that time. You know what I mean? So if anything, just learn how the 821 works on the weekly time frame, and you're going to be doing much better than just holding.
And 821 is going back to that. God darn it, it's the word I'm thinking of.
Come on, I taught you. I showed
you did, and I'm like, my God, it's the theory. Somebody help me out here because I'm going to look like a fool now.
So it's basically just two EMAs, which are exponential moving averages, and then you just get to the weekly time frame. I don't know if I can share my screen on here or not.
You can, so you can request it if you'd like. That's probably the best way. And obviously, I don't want all the secret sauce, but if there's some things you want to go into to at least give some people some information, and obviously, I'd like you to tell people how they can, if they have the desire or have the energy to kind of take on this kind of task. You obviously, as you mentioned earlier, I guess, offer the ability to do some one-on-ones with this type of stuff. Obviously there's a cost or whatever, but I want people to at least have access to that information if they choose to want to partake in that. Because again, I love people in the space that are trying to help others.
Yeah, I don't mind sharing this information. I'm not trying to listen, there's so many people out there that are like, I know the secret and I want you to pay me $1 million so I can give you the secret. Listen, there's no secrets out there. Okay. They're like, it drives me nuts. This is the reason that I started doing this, was because there's so many freaking scammers out there. And they're like, just because someone's driving a Lambo on their Twitter feed, they did not get there by trading. I can guarantee you that. They had money to start with, right? Yeah. There might be a couple individuals out there who have Dogecoin millionaires who got lucky, sure, right? But the majority of us are not going to find this situation, right? The majority of us are not going to win that lottery ticket, and you got to make your own, right? So basically all I've done is I've gone to indicators on TradingView, and you just type in 8, 13, 21, and you can find any of these. There's a million of them. I didn't come up with this strategy, by the way. It's been around for years, so I'm not claiming that I figured this out either. But I use the one by Pocket 5S, which is coincidentally part of your name, which is kind of cool. And so you just click on that and you add it to your chart, right? And then you come into the settings, and I only use the 8 and the 21. You can use the 13 if you want, but I get rid of the 13 because I'm only interested in the 8 and 21. And I'm on the weekly time frame. And so if you just come in and zoom in here, my 8 EMA is the orange line, and my 21 EMA is the purple line. And during a bull market, the 8 EMA will stay over the 21 the entire time. It will not cross. It doesn't matter. And you can see that it starts when it crosses bullish, right? And so you just follow this all the way up and you sell when it crosses bearish. The very first time that it crosses bearish after a bull run, that starts your bear market every single time. It can cross bullish again shortly after, but it doesn't matter. Like, that's the end as soon as it crosses that one time. Okay. And you can see how bad this became, right? And now you get a couple crosses here and there. Like, here was a fake out, right? A big fall off, I believe, and then you get another cross back up. But as long as you buy, as soon as it crosses the 80, it crosses. And then if it falls back below again, you just get out. Like, you'll take a small loss there. Like, you won't suffer all that pain because you're going to get out as soon as this crosses back below. Your stop loss is going to be underneath that EMA, right? And then you just wait and then you try again. And as you can see in this situation, you wouldn't have been stopped out. You would have had your stop loss very close to that 21. And then each week you just come in here and you just move your stop loss up one click and just stay underneath that 21, right? Now, let's say you kept it super tight and you got stopped out here. Okay, that's no big deal. First of all, you just made, like, I don't know, a crap ton of money anyway. Let's say we got stopped out there. I mean, that's still almost 100% gain just on that move. But let's say you're like, oh, I got stopped out. When do I get back in? You just wait for the next close over the 8 EMA, which is this one right here. You get back in. And then you just repeat the process. You keep your stop underneath and you ride this thing all the way up until you get to your first bearish cross right here. Now, you're not going to nail the top, but you're going to get very close and you're not going to suffer all of this downside. I mean, you can get out here and not suffer a 70% loss on your capital.
Yeah, and you're not going to need to nail the top and the bottom to make money in these kind of situations. You're just riding
Right.
the longer waves up
Like,
and the
I'm
longer
not
waves
nailing
down.
that bottom either. I'm waiting for this cross. And typically what I do is I wait for the retest, right? So I don't buy the big bullish green candle that creates the cross. I wait for the closest touch to the 8 EMA again afterwards, because this is like a mean or an average, and the price always likes to come back to these two lines. And so I would wait to enter like right around here and keep my stop below and just ride it, and I'd get out right around here. And again, I just made another decent gain, and all I had to do was check the chart once a week, right? And then here's another bearish move. Here's a fake out, so we buy here, right? We sell as soon as we get down below. We take a small loss. We don't suffer all that pain, and then we wait for the next cross. So here's your next cross. You buy, keep your stop below, and here we go, going into the next bull market, right? So I'm gonna suffer 5-10% losses, and I'm gonna make thousands of percent gains. So, like, I don't care about those little losses on the fake outs that happen sometimes.
And
right?
this is one indicator. You're not clouding your charts with 50 lines like other people probably think. And that's what
and you're
they
not
do,
sitting
right?
here
Like,
biting your
they think like it's so
nails,
complicated.
it's very simple. It's very stress-free. And so here we are in our current situation, right? So I'm actually, now, if you incorporate fibs, which I also teach, you can incorporate fibs too to help you with your entries, and they can actually nail bottoms really well. And so, for example, if you just take your fibs from the COVID low to our all-time high, my first Bitcoin purchase was right on this 0.5, right? And that's where I started scaling back in a little bit. And I did this after I saw divergence on the chart, which I can also teach you as well. But like, basically what that means is that this is pointed up while your oscillator down below is pointed down. And so my first purchase was right around here, and I kept my stop just underneath the 0.5 just in case. And as you can see, that's a very low risk trade. Like, I can enter very close to that 0.5 and keep my stop loss just underneath it, and I never got hit.
Yeah.
Right. And then I get the big move, and I'm like, okay, cool, game on. Like, I got a big green candle through both EMAs and a cross shortly afterwards. So I took it up to here, and I'm still holding this because I averaged in here on this dip here and then twice in here. And now you can see we're starting to go bearish again. Look, we got our bearish cross. So now it's time to start scaling out. And you can see that this is why the selling pressure is so high now over the last few weeks.
Yeah.
Right now it's like, oh, it makes sense. It makes sense why we're getting so much selling pressure. So now I'm not buying anything anymore until I get another big move down. And this is typically how the markets work. Whenever you have a cycle, you have a big move down, you get another low, but it's usually higher than the previous one, and then the bull market starts. Okay. That's how this one worked here. And this one was kind of like a new market, but it still had two dips. It had this one and then this one, right? Yeah. And so we're going into our second dip. And so I plan on going pretty heavy on Bitcoin on this second dip, wherever it may take us. In order to figure that out, I'm going to use some fibs and figure out my spots that I'm going to point out I can actually show you what those are currently. And I share my charts in my Discord all the time. But so these are the spots that I'm going to dollar cost average in if 25K breaks. If 25K breaks, I take profits because I'm already in profit from where I've averaged in before. And these 3 lines are where I'm going to scale back in. I'm going to do what's called the 25, 25, 50 rule. And what that means is I'm going to decide beforehand how much capital I'm going to use. All right. I already know how much I'm going to buy, right? The question is where do you buy? And so I find these spots that I'm going to buy, and I do 25% of my capital here, 25% of my capital here. And if we get down here, I'm going to do the other 50% down here. Right. And what this does, it allows me to average into my position, and the majority of my funds are entered at the lowest point that I'm willing to go.
Okay.
Right. And now let's say I only get to here. So I went 25, 25, and then we bounce. Well, then I'll enter the other 50% as soon as we break back up over 25K.
Nice.
My average won't be as good. I'm hoping I can get it there. Right. But sometimes you don't get where you want it and you have to adjust. And that's just basically what you do as a trader. You see the market for what it is, you let it come to you, and you adjust if things don't go the way that you thought they would.
Nice. Hidden, you got any question? I saw you nodding your head a couple of times.
I have the same stuff pulled up on mine, so it's kind of interesting to hear.
Yeah, well, and you have done some trading, so I thought you'd be good to add some value too here and there, because you are usually our guy that pulls up some of the charts for us at the time. I am learning very slowly, but I am learning, and I am loving it. I think there's a lot of value to this, which is why I wanted to have you on. So I thank you for joining us for a bit. And Huss is saying this info is gold. If only I knew how to trade. Well, that's hopefully the point. So sorry, MG just put out some comments. Is he so asking you? Are you using?
I use Coinbase.
Broker. Okay, so for these trades, I know some brokers, their commissions increase if you hold positions for long periods of time. Coinbase, I'm assuming, doesn't do any of that.
No, it doesn't. And Coinbase is actually really good. I know a lot of people try to knock them, but I really enjoy Coinbase for a few reasons. And one of them is they have this thing called Coinbase One, and it's $15 a month. I've heard from somebody else that they charge 30, and it might be because I've been there for so long that maybe they decreased my payment. I don't know. But you get free trades. So for $15 a month, and I don't know, it might be 30, but even if it's 30, every trade is free, right? And that you get a certain number of trades per month. And I actually don't know how many it is. I've actually only reached the limit one time, but you don't have any trading fees, and you can just dollar cost average in with no trading fees. And I think that's totally worth 15 or $30 a month, because the trading fees are really high, especially if you're buying any large amounts.
Yeah. And MG says pocket is my Coinbase because they tell the government. I don't mind if they tell the government. I actually report my stuff, unlike other people who choose not to, which is fine. I'm okay with that. I choose because I'm kind of living in this space now and not having a 9-to-5 job. I work more than 9 to 5 really now. Then I don't mind that kind of stuff. So my one thing obviously is more obviously having an exchange. There is those risks, but unfortunately, I mean, there's some places where you have to kind of deal with that. Something like, I guess, just as a thought of my right now with Foxify coming out and stuff like that, is there any, and I know there are others on the decentralized exchanges, is there any value to using those, or are they just as risky or more because of different reasons?
So you mean like decentralized exchanges and stuff that you would connect to MetaMask and try to trade on there? Yeah, so I use a couple. I use Apex. I really love Apex, Apex Exchange, and they have it's mainly for perps though. So like I trade perpetual contracts, and I also have trading bots. So I've created an algorithmic trading bot for Bitcoin and for Ethereum that will trade for you based on the way that I trade. So I've tried to program this thing to trade with that 821 that I just showed you, along with Fibonacci retracements and other various things, incorporated in using multiple time frames at the same time. Nice. And it'll automatically trade you your USDC for you. And all you have to do is just put it into your wallet, deposit it into the exchange, and connect the API to the bot, and it's just going to automatically trade this for you over long periods of time. But I do like it for smaller amounts of capital. Now, would I sit here and hold all of my holdings into a decentralized exchange? Probably not. As with anything, it's best kept in a a hardware wallet and not on an exchange at all. Yeah. The only time I'm really doing any serious trading on an exchange, I'm only going to use Coinbase, and it's because I'm deciding to sell and move a large amount over, or buy and move a large amount out.
Gotcha. Cool. And then there was some comments, obviously, and a couple of them felt very strong about your not hodling thing. And I'm just going to see if there was anything that was of value. Like, obviously, MG said, tell somebody holding since 2005. And of course, there's longer periods of time.
Sure.
That you would
but how many people do you know are holding Bitcoin from 2005?
Not very many.
I don't know anyone.
Yeah. And most of them would have sold at some point, and then that obviously, and then they're going to kick themselves for doing it. But then it's like, again, you could have possibly traded, and I get it. There's not everybody's going to take this. And,
even then, you're still better off selling here and not taking this 90% drawdown, and rebuying down here when it crosses again. Like, you could substantially increase your wealth by just understanding that simple thing and saving yourself the downside. A lot of people think that when you learn TA, it's like, oh, cool, I'm going to learn how to chart and I'm going to make so much money. I learned the hard way that that's not the case. And you have to actually use TA so you save money. Like, saving money is much more important than making money, because if you take $1,000 and try to start trading with it and you lose 10% on your first trade, now you only have 900, and now it's going to take you, I don't remember what the math is, but you need to win a large trade to get that back. And the more you lose, you lose 50%. Now you need to make 100% to make your money back to break even. And the way that I think about it when I'm trading, because I don't want to lose that capital, is, let's say I only lose $10, right? Well, that's $10 that I can't put towards the next trade that might be a winner, right? And then that would have been $10 more on that leverage that would have then turned into 25. And then what about the next trade? And that 25 would have turned into 45. And then that one would have turned into 150. And so that $10 that you lost might actually be thousands of dollars over a long period of time.
Yeah. And the other thing, I guess, too, which I think a lot of people probably get turned away from this, is they think they have to watch charts 24/7. With this kind of setup that you have, you can actually set alerts on here and avoid really any need of doing that. And you're just checking it as alerts come, possibly over, in some cases, days or weeks, I presume.
Right. Yeah,
Very
absolutely.
Awesome. So if somebody's watching this and they, let's go to that for a minute and then we can come back to whatever. If somebody's watching this, they're kind of going, okay, I like the ideas behind this. Obviously, I've gotten a little sneak peek at it, but it's not really giving me all the value I need. What's the best place for them to seek more? I guess.
So I have a Discord in the DeFi Dojo, and it's $15 a month if you wanted to join the channels. I don't charge a lot. Most of these people charge $50 to $100, which is just insane. But I'm not trying to make money off of it. I'm just trying to keep riffraff out, to be honest with you. Like,
yeah, exactly.
I don't. If I opened it up free, then I'm going to get a whole bunch of craziness in there and trolls. And I'm only interested in people coming in if they're serious about, learning and joining a community that's got a good group of people into it. The DeFi Dojo is an amazing place. So it's separated by 2 tiers, and Steven, the calculator guy, I'm not sure if you've ever heard of him, but he owns the whole dojo basically, but I own the trading section, and he's a friend of mine. We've known each other for years, and he was gracious enough to, let me take up space in his Discord. So really it's 2 companies together in there, my company and his company. If you purchase the DeFi portion of it, my channels are included. That's $50 a month if you wanted to be a part of the whole dojo and do all the DeFi related stuff. That whole genre is beyond me and goes way over my head. Yield farming and all this stuff, like
crazy mind.
Yeah. And there's so many smart people in there, and he says it all the time, and I totally agree with him. But like, if you want to make it in this space, you need to surround yourself with people that are smarter than you, right? And that's the main reason I even joined that channel with him. And when it started, he just gave me a free pass to come in and hang out because we were friends. And then I started sharing charts and showing him what I did. And he's like, hey, you're really good at this. And I'm like, well, I mean, yeah, I've been doing it for a while. And he's like, well, let's make a channel for you. I'm like, okay, cool. And that's kind of how it started. And I was like, well, I really just want to show people to stop listening to Twitter and stop listening to other people and start learning how to do this themselves so they can make their own decisions. And that way, if it goes wrong, you don't have anyone to blame, right?
Yeah. That might turn away a lot of people because they really like to sit in Discords and complain.
Well, yeah. Well, again, those are the people I'm not interested in having.
No, exactly. Funny Toro said, and it's true. I have listened to a couple of things. I would like to understand some of it because I think there's some really neat abilities to earn money in his group. But DeFi Dojo and Steven's videos they are quite advanced sometimes.
And so my portion of the server is only $15. So if you just wanted to have all those trading channels, you can. I do stocks, options. I do a weekly live stream every Sunday night. To show people what I'm seeing in the markets, and I kind of make my little bit of a prediction on what I think is going to happen. I'm right about 70% of the time on what's going to happen the next week so far this year. But I get it wrong just like everyone else, man. Like, you're going to get it wrong, and that's okay. It's not about like how right you are in this space, and that's one of the things I don't like about most TI guys is like. TA guys is they're all like, oh, well, I'm right and you're wrong, and we're gonna yell at each other about it, and like, like
the egos are a little too big.
It's exhausting. So yeah,
I'm just going in and adding. So I'm adding. I put the Discord in the chat there. So if anybody wants to join, I'm assuming you can get into the Discord. Then obviously to get access to your channels, do they go to your YouTube or?
Yeah, there's a WAP page, so I can actually, if you want, I can kind of do a little bit of a, let me see here. Where is that screen? Over here. Let's see if this works. So here is the DeFi Dojo, and here are all of my channels. So this is what you would get for the $15 a month is these channels here. Also, if you subscribe to one of my bots on Astrobit, my channels are all included. I don't charge separately for them. So like if you subscribe to one of my trading bots, the algorithmic trading bots, you automatically get all these channels opened up to you. You don't have to pay for both.
And Astrobit's quite neat too, actually, and that's probably something worth having a quick chat about. I did use them a couple of times, and now you were creating yours, I think, back when we had chatted the first time. So obviously they're now functional. How are they performing?
They're doing okay. So the Bitcoin one is doing like break even now from when it started in June because of all this choppiness we've had. And so when I created these trading bots, I wanted to make them like swing trading bots. I didn't want to try to make like a scalping bot that like trades 1,000,000 times a minute. And so when you have choppy markets like we have right now, they're just not great for swing trading, right? Because it's just every move that Bitcoin makes, it round trips right back down to where it started again. And like there's just not a whole lot. There's no movement. It's just sideways. The Ethereum bot, however, is doing very well. It's up about 16% in the first 40 days since I launched it. And that's at 1x leverage. And you have the option to use up to 3x leverage on the Ethereum strategy. And then you have up to 5x leverage on the Bitcoin strategy if you'd like.
Nice.
But I do have recommendations for all of that in here as well. So if you go to the pinned messages in here, you can see how I've said, recommendations. Lower risk, medium risk, high risk, Degen, however you want to pronounce that. Like, so like these are just kind of like examples and parameters. Everybody's going to be different. So like here I post all my charts every single day, every 12 hours. I post an update on all the major charts. Here's where I post my weekly outlook and recording of the live stream that's in Discord all the time. We do stocks and equities here. I have a long-term investments channel. If you scroll all the way up to the beginning of this, I recommended NVIDIA first, all the way back in August,
and it
when
went on a tear.
It was 180, and I just recently sold it all for quite a bit of profits. So I have a little bit left. I didn't sell it all, but majority of it. Everything in this channel is pretty much pretty much at a profit. So
nice.
I love doing it. I love helping people. I love teaching. And it's really just what I'm passionate about. I like teaching more than I like trading, to be honest with you. So
nice. Teach a man to fish. Awesome. Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. That's a lot of great information. And obviously I see, and hopefully everybody sees the value of the Discord there. So $15 a month gives you all that access. And it seems like you're putting a ton of effort into that, which hopefully everybody is appreciative of.
I am the most active person in the DeFi Dojo. I've had the #1 rank on, how you can do the rank things on there. I've had the #1 rank for 9 months now.
Nice. All right. So it shows your
Steven
passion.
Says I talk too much.
Awesome. And so, audience, obviously, if you guys have any questions, please put them in the chat there, and we'll happily go through them. We kind of go through just sort of a generalized thing, I guess. What are you excited about right now? Is there anything that's kind of holding your attention that you're kind of waiting for? Is it just following this Bitcoin craze? Because I'm assuming, or I guess, what are your predictions on that? Because I think a lot of people are. I see a little divide. Most people seem to think it's going for another dump before anything, and a pretty decent one potentially. But any thoughts there for everybody?
I think that there's something kind of weird going on in the overall markets, especially in the U.S.
What, market manipulation?
No, not really manipulation. It's like there's the liquidity is like if you look at any liquid like global liquidity charts and U.S. liquidity have been going down for months now, while the S&P is still going up. And generally that doesn't happen. Generally, liquidity and the charts kind of go together. So there's a little bit of a divergence going on with that, and it is worrying me a little bit because if there's the liquidity's falling and money supply is falling and the market's going up, then that means if it starts coming down, it could come down really hard and really fast. And typically you see this sort of thing happening before like a major crash. So I'm being careful. I'm watching it. And right now, like the S&P is still bullish on the weekly, and you can use that 821 strategy on everything. So I use it on the S&P 500, the Nasdaq, Tesla, Nvidia, and they're still bullish, right? And so for now, it looks like it's okay. But if it starts crossing bearish, then I'm going to start selling everything again and waiting, because that's what you get when you get a weekly EMA cross. You get downside. It's a leading indicator.
Yeah.
And so when that happens, I'm gonna, tell everyone that what I'm doing, and I don't ever recommend anything. I just tell people what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And
Fair. And question for our guest. Look at that. Perfect. What do you have as your passive income plays, or is all your capital in trading?
Well, I have a couple businesses. So I do garage cabinets on the side. I do CAD drawings, and I do trading, and I make trading bots and run a Discord, and I basically don't sleep. So, yeah, I mean, I just try to create income from as many places as possible. That's real income. As far as passive income in crypto itself, I mean, aside from what these guys do on the DeFi side, I don't really know if there is anything right now, right?
Okay.
Like we're in a lull, and those times will come back again. I almost guarantee it. Like as soon as we get back into the bull run again, and then Bitcoin has its big move, and then alt season begins, and then you're going to have the Ponzi's, and it's all going to repeat. It's just right now, it's preservation of capital is number one, right? Because there's no such thing as luck, in my opinion. And all that really luck is being prepared for an opportunity when it comes. And if the opportunity comes and all of your capital's gone because you've been trying too hard now, you're not going to be able to put it in when it's obvious, right? Like it's going to be obvious eventually one day, just like it was obvious in 21 when everything was straight up. Like it's going to be obvious again. Just be patient, and you'll be able to take advantage of it.
Nice.
But as far as passive income, just try to create as much, even if it's a little bit of income, even if it's like creating a YouTube channel about, food recipes. Like we have so many opportunities now that we didn't used to have. Like anybody can become anything. And whatever you're passionate about, just start making YouTube videos about it. It's fun. If it doesn't work out, who cares? Like you had fun anyway. And if it does work out, you might start generating some income on ad revenue. Like it's just, you can do anything. My daughter started making YouTube videos on drawing, and she's already got like 2,000 followers, and she's been doing it for 2 months. Like, and all she's doing is drawing pictures. I'm like, this is insane. She's got more followers than I do. Like, what's going on here?
It's a funny space right now. All of this kind of stuff, and it's crazy how it can kind of go. So I agree. And that's part of what I've done with myself is it's just been finding little places where I can add value in the space, and that's what's been able to allow me to kind of leave my bank job of other things in between, but my bank job of over 20 years was because I found ways to add value in the space and earn something that can help me do that, and I'm far happier than I've ever been in my life when it comes to that. Which is amazing. So good for you on that. And obviously things like the bots and all that stuff help bring you some income.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So
yeah,
and then you
try to
can do
create
without
just creating things like, you know, I'm not like creating stuff. Try to stay away from like shilling crypto projects. Like I've
I
never
try.
shilled a crypto project. Like other than Strong Block when it came, I was shilling by participation though. Like I wasn't like I'll never, like I have a lot of people ask me if they'll pay me to like shill something, and I just can't do it.
Yeah. No, it's true, and it's an interesting space for that reason. So, any other questions, guys? MG4, I'm a bot nowadays. Like everything's a bot right now. It's gonna be interesting to see how things go over the next little while. But any other questions from the audience? Sorry, is there anything you wanted to get into today? We might digress a tiny bit. Obviously, you're welcome to stick around. We go to about an hour at max, but even then today, I'm happy to kind of shut it down sooner or later, just because I really wanted to focus more on you, because I appreciate what you're doing for the space and trying to add value in the space. These are the kind of things I want to quote unquote shill, but only because it adds value to people in the future. Like I'm even talking about a lot of communities lately, and I find there's a lot of opportunities for communities to help people navigate this space in a more healthy way, which is what I think is lacking in a lot of cases. So I guess that's a fair question. Is there any bots that you like other than yours?
I don't know, because I've never tried any.
Oh, there you go. It is kind of hard if you're already doing your own stuff, eh?
Yeah, like I kind of created mine to be the way that I like it, and I'm giving that a go. And you know, other than that, I'm dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin and Ethereum already. Gotcha. I think it's a good addition to a portfolio. Like I wouldn't put everything on a bot, right? Like
No.
you gotta diversify and have multiple investments in different places. I always tell people, like, a lot of people who are in the crypto space don't trade equities, and it's a big mistake. Like if you're investing in Bitcoin and Ethereum and you're doing it heavily, and you don't have a 401k or a some sort of stock portfolio where you're buying blue chips over time, you're not doing it right. Like your safest capital is going to be in, you know, Google and Amazon and Apple and Meta and these blue chip tech companies that are not going anywhere. Like Meta went down to $88 and it went all the way back up to 300, and we bought it at 100, and it did, like, stocks did so much better than crypto this year. And there's going to be years where Bitcoin and Ethereum do better than stocks, but if you have a little bit of all of it, you're going to do really well over the long term, and your average returns will be greater.
Yeah, no, agreed. That's awesome. Any other words of advice? And then and Hidden, do we want to do anything else today? I mean, I'm not getting a whole lot of questions from the audience other than the ones towards I am Groot. But anything else you wanted to get into today?
No, we're just chugging along in the background.
Yeah, there you go. Apologies. Usually it's he and I.
Sorry, I talk a lot, and I apologize. Okay. I talk too much.
Nothing to apologize for. That's why we brought you on.
Nope.
This was for you to have a little spotlight, hopefully find some value, and hopefully some of the audience finds some value in some of the stuff and seeks you out. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to ask, because like I said, we had a chat already before, and I've kind of dabbled in the Discord a little bit. I needed to get last week has been a little bit nutty. I look forward to digging into the Discord a little bit further, because I think there is a lot of value that you've put into that, and I appreciate that. So hopefully some people partake in at least trying it, even for a few months. It doesn't cost that much, and you never know.
There's a 2-week free trial too, so.
Oh, nice. Okay.
When you sign up, it doesn't actually charge you for 2 weeks, so you can cancel and not pay anything.
Nice. There you go. Kevin said, very much enjoyed this. I'll take a serious look at the Discord. Yeah, please do, guys.
Thanks, Kevin.
And yeah, other than that, I think that's probably all I have today. It's been a little bit of a crazy week for me, and a good one, but a crazy one. So I'm like, I feel tongue-tied sometimes. I tried to record a video today, and it was like, I felt like I skipped over my words half the time.
God, I hate recording videos.
Yeah,
like like if I want people to find out about my Discord and learning and stuff, I have to make them, and I like cringe. Like I'm 40. Like I don't know how this stuff works. You know, I don't know how TikTok works. I don't like who. I see these people spitting out like 5 videos a day on TikTok, and I don't know how they do it. I don't understand. And they're like professional quality. Ugh.
Even the stuff I do, I mean, I enjoy getting content. I enjoy, like you, we're actually somewhat similar. I enjoy more the educating side of it and the digging a little bit deeper into things. I don't really like shilling videos. I try not to do. I do have a few paid videos once a week or once every 2 weeks. I try and be very objective about them and not shilly about them. But it's still. I'd much prefer just be doing stuff saying, okay, here's what I'm doing today. And here's some cool stuff that I learned today. I'd much prefer to be doing that in my Discord or something like that, as opposed to the others. So awesome. So I don't see any other questions, guys. Thanks so much for joining us. I guess we'll kind of leave it at that. Because I'm assuming you don't, and you primarily, and that's just something I wanted to ask that I just thought of. You primarily deal with, when it comes to the crypto side of things, is there any tokens or stuff that you're excited about other than Bitcoin, or do you mess around mostly with Bitcoin and Ethereum?
The only one that I am excited about, that I can say that I have some confidence that it'll be one of the next bull run tokens, is Tau, which is BitTensor, and it's TAO, and it's basically a neural network for artificial intelligence, but on the blockchain. And I first found it when it was about like $20, and you had to go buy it on an exchange on the website, so it was real shady. But I did it anyway, and it ended up going to $100, and then was listed on MEXC. And so I sold it at 100 and rebought it back at 40, and I'm still holding it. It's currently sitting around like 49 or 50, but it has the same tokenomics as Bitcoin, exactly. 21 million total supply, happening every 4 years. And basically, if you want to participate in their chat AI bot, which is currently working right now, but it's in development also at the same time, but you need to use the tokens to use the chat bot, from what I understand. And so they're utilized in order to actually use it. Now, I'm thinking it's probably going to have a bull run with Bitcoin and then probably die, just like altcoins do. And so I'm not planning on holding this forever. I'm just going to take this into the next cycle and take my profits, because in my opinion, there's nothing that is created by the blockchain that will overtake Google or Nvidia or Meta or Microsoft, or like there's nobody that's going to be able to compete with them. Like, and you can't. It's not like, here's the thing about crypto projects: they can be copied and duplicated
in seconds.
In seconds.
Yeah.
Right. So let's say someone comes up with this great idea for blockchain. How do you patent that to where Google can't just replicate it and do the same thing?
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting.
Right. Like, so I love the idea of crypto, and I love the idea of Bitcoin and the future use of money. As far as like crypto projects and becoming something substantial in the future, I don't know. I still don't know what that looks like. Right.
Yeah, I see it more as the technology being able to be used for IRL stuff, where I think the value is going to come from. And like you say, when the Googles come in here, the Amazons come in here, or we do house deeds on here, that's kind of where that's going to provide some really neat value and stuff down the road. But yeah, awesome. Yeah. So a couple of people from Fetty always around saying thanks for that interesting convo, and MG40 as well saying great content always. Thank you so much, sir. And so yeah, guys, thanks for hanging around with us. If there's anything else, please don't hesitate to come by my Discord, and obviously if you want to come down by the dojo, I posted that in the description of the video, and as well as his Discord or YouTube connection as well there. So please
we'll put my link tree in there too. It'll have all the links to everything.
Sure. So I just DM, I think you did DM that to me. I'll grab it and I'll throw that into there as well. So hopefully everybody's found some value there, and thanks Hidden, and MG says hi to you too, or later to you, Hidden.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it, and thank you all for coming and asking the questions.
My pleasure. All right, guys, have
good night, everybody.
Bye.
All right, bye.